Hey everyone, this is what we're going to go over in this update, starting with the surveys. Thank you so much for filling them out. If you haven't already, please do so. Now, as far as design changes, let's go over that. Now, one of the things we talked about was increasing the size of the original profile so that we can accommodate a larger shackle, specifically in truck beds. And so what I did is made it larger. This is what we're going to end up with, but let me show you the process that we had to go through. You can see that these are incrementally bigger, but just making the carabiner bigger didn't work. Okay, let me grab the largest one and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If I take this 3/8 shackle using this Marlin spike here, and I try to go through, you can see the gate does not clear. Here I have a smaller size, right? You'd think that it would be even less of a clearance, but actually watch this. It clears just fine. So here's the trade-off. Instead of making the carabiner just larger and larger until we get the clearance that we want, the gate had to be modified. Now these gates were handmade. They're not going to be reflective of what you'll get because those will be machine made. But here we have a crease right here, a bend that almost reaches the very edge of the carabiner. What we had to do is shorten it up, so now it just goes about halfway, maybe 3/4 of a way towards the nose of the carabiner, and this does allow for it to clear. Now there is one more trade-off. Instead of making this larger and larger so that it can accommodate all trucks, I tried this on a Toyota Tundra and it was not big enough, but it was big enough on a Chevy S10. So I'm thinking that smaller trucks, they will fit, but if you have a full-size truck, it probably will not fit. But the trade-off is to just making this larger and larger, and by that time you might as well just get one of these things out. So now the small flat spool, I did make one tiny change to it. This hole here, instead of it being about 1/8 of an inch away from this line where the cord starts wrapping, I brought it up so that it matches the top edge. So we just moved it up like 1/8 of an inch, so it's in line with this edge here. And that's important because when you start wrapping, the cord is over and then you have to move to one side and then back over. We want it starting right at the very edge, so when you wrap, it's all the way from left edge to right edge. Now here we have the large flat spool. There are a couple design modifications here. One is this hole was moved up just like the small flat spool. You can see that it's now in line with that edge. Also we have this shape here. This is better for the release, for the thumb release when you have a rope handle. Let me show you. If you take your cord and you place it through, it was just a little bit too tough to put into place. It'd hold really well, but if you wanted to undo it with a thumb release, it was kind of difficult. Okay. And then you just didn't need that much space to clear the rope out. So let me show you the new one. This one hasn't been tumbled yet. We can put it through, bring it up. There we go. That'll hold just fine. It's not going to slip out accidentally, but then you can use your thumb and clear it. And once it's tumbled, it'll be a little smoother of an action too. Now this hole, if you've noticed, it's offset. This is the area that a QR code will go in, and that will take you to a page to show you how to use this thing. For the small spool, I didn't offset it because it doesn't have the tension bar, and that's just going to go right in here. And then last but not least, this little tiny baby carabiner. I did send the files off to the manufacturer, and we're going to see if we can get this made. Hopefully I can include it for you guys as a thank you for supporting this project. Surveys, design changes, purchase orders. The carabiners, I did send off the files so that we can get the updated quotes for all the anodizing. We are going to go with the clear anodizing, except for this little baby one. This one we're going to try to do in blue. We'll see how that works out. I'll keep you updated, of course. The cord and rope I'm going to order tomorrow. The tension rods, there's a little change for that. Let me show you that real quick. Now when the cord is wrapped around the large spool and you take your rod and you push it in, the edge would get caught up on the rope and it wouldn't allow you to push it all the way in. You'd get it about to this point right here, and I noticed that the wraps, as you handled this thing, it would get caught up and it'd be really difficult to push in. Now, here's what we're going to do. This edge is going to be rounded over. It's going to be machined so that it's a round profile. And then that way, as we're going across the rope, it's going to skip over and go right into place. The top edge is going to stay fairly square. It'll still have a slight round over, so it's not sharp. But we want it to fall into place and then not be so easy to fall out. Okay, then you'll have to pull it and then release the pin. And here's a visual of that. As you push the rod into the spool, it would get caught up on the rope and then it wouldn't let you go all the way in, okay? But here we have this rounded profile. It'll hit and it'll go right through. As for all the shipping supplies, that'll be ordered about 1 week before we start our shipping runs. So the goal is to ship everything out by the end of May, but keep in mind we do have to make more than 5,000 carabiners, and so that may take a little bit of a delay just because of the amount that has to be produced and then packed and shipped. But everything's looking well, we're on track, and if anything goes outside of the plan, I will definitely keep you updated, but so far everything's looking good. Thanks again, folks.